So the first rule of using a val is don't use a val. A val is usually just bad, but in the case of HTML, we saw how runtime generation of code is sometimes necessary. HTML is one example of that. Another common one has to do with accessing a database. And to talk about this one, I need to give you a little crash course on databases. Because our use of a dictionary in JavaScript is not very realistic, it doesn't scale to any interesting size of data. Many systems are backed by a relational database, which keeps data in tables. So here's a table with a name column, email column, phone column, and secret column, and we have Alice with her information and Bob with his information in different rows of the table. Relational databases can handle large amounts of data like this, and they can handle it efficiently. So if you're looking for someone's name to get their email, you can set it up to be very fast even if you have millions of names. Looking up information in the database is one operation. Of course, we saw that we need to be able to add to the database as well. More generally, the operations that a database needs to support are known by the acronym CRUD. That's being able to create data in the table, read data in the table, change some data that's already there, that is update it, or remove it from the table. There are all sorts of ways that a database might provide these different operations, and different databases could provide them in different ways. And even in a particular database, the way that you can combine these four things at once can get pretty complicated. So to solve those sorts of problems, there is a particular language called Structured Query Language, or SQL, for encoding CRUD requests. All sorts of different database implementations agree on a large amount of SQL. So that's a standard way of working with relational databases. SQL looks like this. It has commands like create table. Here people is the name of the table, and that is the data inside the table. Create table doesn't have to be in capital letters, but that's the convention for SQL. Let's try this out ourselves. At the command line, I'm just going to run SQLite 3 and have a database that's not even stored on disk, just in memory. So here I am at a SQL prompt, and I can type create table. People, I'll simplify here and just have name, which is text, and number, which is also going to be text, because like a phone number could have dashes. So there I've created a table. You can't see that anything in particular happened, but now in my in-memory database there is a people table. I can demonstrate that by trying to select from it. So I can select star from people, and we don't get an error about people not being a table. We just get empty list back because we haven't put any data in yet. To insert into a SQL database, use the insert to command, insert into command. Then you say the table that you want to add to, and then I'm just going to provide values by position. I'll say Alice, who has, let's just keep the phone number simple, 123. So that is Alice, added Alice to my table, and now if I select everything from the table, then I'll see Alice there with her number. I could also add Bob with 456. And now if I select star from people, then I see Alice and Bob. Star here means show me all of the columns. If I say select name, then I'll only see Alice and Bob. And there's nothing special about the name column. I could just as well select number, or I could say select number and name. And now we see them in that order, number followed by name in the table. What if I want Alice's number? Then I could select all the numbers again, but I want to say where name equals Alice. And that's how in SQL we look up specific information. So there we get 123 because that's Alice's number. And if I look for Bob, I would get 456. And again, there's nothing special about the name, so I could do a reverse lookup here and say show me the name for whoever has the number 123. And now I get Alice back from that. So we saw the create command. It turns out the drop command is used to delete tables. Select, we saw some examples from that. There are also other operators you can use with where. You can find all the people whose name is Alice or whose secret is house. So and or and other operators are included as part of SQL. We inserted using insert into. Of course, you can delete from a table, and that's using delete from in a similar way to an insert, but you don't get data back, you just delete that row of the table.